What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From The Bench Vols. I'm your host, Will Meadows, and welcome to our Monday edition of the show, where we have a lot of Tennessee football to talk about, but we're also going to discuss what's gone on around the SEC through these first 4 weeks of the college football season. Tennessee's coming off of a huge win this past weekend against the UAB Blazers, a game that was never really close, a game that was kind of went as expected. Joey Aguilar and company got the job done, especially early in the first half. Got some rotational guys in there in the second half. It was never really close. A hot game, a 12:45 kickoff. Hopefully Tennessee does not have a game that is that hot again this year. But that's besides the point. We're going to discuss all of that and more on this episode of From The Bench Vols. But before we get into any of that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, share it. All of that good stuff is greatly appreciated. So without further ado, man, let's just get right into it. So like I said, a big win for the Vols this past Saturday, 56-24 against UAB. I'm just going to straight up say that 24 number I don't really like for UAB. Got some questions around this defense. I know they're not healthy right now, but just being honest, I'm not going to be that guy who's harping on a team after they just won by 30-plus points. I'm not that at all. I get that you're not going to really put your whole playbook out there, put everything on the table. I mean, Georgia beat us, and they looked horrible against Austin Peay. I never looked too much into these games, but Joey Aguilar led the way, 15 of 22 passing, 218 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Jake Merklinger got some action, went 3 of 8 with 57 yards. The ground game was in full effect this past Saturday. Peyton Lewis with 11 carries for 81 yards and a touchdown. Deshaun Bishop with 9 carries for 59 yards and 2 touchdowns. Star Thomas with 9 carries for 51 yards and a touchdown. DeJuan Moore, 7 carries for 38. Joey Aguilar, 3 for 11. All that good stuff. Chris Brazzell II, a guy who has just completely put this country on notice over the last few weeks. 5 catches for 62 yards and caught the first touchdown of the game. Mike Matthews with 3 catches, 53 yards, and a touchdown. Braylon Staley with 3 catches for 50 yards. Braylon Harmon, the Knoxville boy, with 1 catch for 41 yards. Miles Kitselman, 2 for 27, and then a bunch of 1 catches. Star Thomas added 1 catch for 17 yards and a touchdown as well. So, again, a big win. You came out of the game with nobody getting really hurt, which is exactly what you want to see. But this defense, it's got to be better. Again, I know that they aren't healthy. That's going to be a key thing as we track this through the week leading to Mississippi State in that game in Starkville. Who's going to be healthy? Because this defense is going to need it. Will Jermod play? I don't think Ricky's going to play. I don't think Jermod's going to play either, but you guys both know I'm going to keep some optimism for that. Jackson Moy, all that good stuff, man. We're going to need these guys. Dave and Hobbs. It's not looking good, man. I hate seeing it, but you've got to get healthy, especially as we start to take this deep dive, into SEC play. And we're going to talk a lot about the SEC. It's a madhouse right now. You've got to be healthy if you want to win these games, especially when they're kind of like a trap game against a Mississippi State and you're on the road. And it's a huge game for Mississippi State, nearly their Super Bowl. Not their Super Bowl because they're an SEC team, but it's a lot more important of a game to Mississippi State than it is us, if that makes any sense. So you've got to get healthy at the right time. And like I said, the SEC is an absolute madhouse. So majority of today's show is going to be, I've got these SEC teams. I've got a list right here in front of me. 4 tiers worth of SEC teams. And I've got that as playoff football teams through 4 weeks. I've got 3 teams in there. I've got playoff hopefuls. I've got good teams that have either over or underperformed through their start of the year, and then I've just got trash there at the bottom. So we're going to go through all of that. Again, this could change in 2 weeks. Who knows? Through 4 weeks, you get somewhat of a grasp, but teams get better through the rest of the season. Teams get worse. Teams start to get a little more proven through conference play. Teams like, let's see here, Ole Miss hasn't necessarily been tested. They had a solid game with Arkansas last week, but not a huge, a real test. You guys get what I'm saying. I'm not trying to knock any team here. So you'll see that through these first few weeks of conference play, depending on who they're playing. But I'll start with the playoff football teams. I've got 3 teams here, and I'll say it right now. Tennessee's not in here, but I think they are the first team out of this tier. So I've got Georgia, and by the way, none of this is in order. I've got Georgia, Oklahoma, and I've got LSU. and I'm going to explain all these, kind of give you a quick summary. I've got Georgia because they beat us. They're a very good football team. Georgia's always going to be a very good football team. They've got the best coach in America. Gunnar Stockton looked very impressive against us, a lot better than I thought he would. Georgia's always going to have a defense, and they've got playmakers out wide, especially with Zachariah Branch. They're always going to have a run game with Nate Frazier and company. Georgia's a very good football team. They're going to be a playoff team, in my opinion. I'm very excited for them versus Alabama this weekend at 7:30. Should be a very good game. I would not be surprised if Alabama wins that game. I know a lot of Tennessee fans just don't think Alabama's very good because they already lost to Florida State, and not pretty fashion. I think Alabama's still a very good football team. I think Ty Simpson's a good quarterback. We'll get into that later. We're going to kind of summarize every team. Oklahoma, they have the best quarterback in the country, man. What can I say? They have 2 big wins now. John Mateer is that guy. Deion Burks is one of the better receivers in the country in the SEC. Brent Venables finally has his guys. They were in a horrible situation last year. Pick up a big win against a solid Auburn team. Jackson Arnold's homecoming back to Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma is a playoff football team, man. I'm excited for, again, they've already beat 2 good teams, 2 ranked teams in Michigan and in Auburn. But they've got some big games coming up on their schedule. Obviously, they have to come to us in Neyland Stadium. It's going to be a tough one for Tennessee. Again, I do think John Mateer is the best quarterback in the country. That's a victory lap for me. I said that coming into the year. One thing about me, man, I'm going to tell you about my victory laps, but I'm not going to shy away from where I was blatantly wrong, because this LSU team, they are in this playoff football team. That's a victory lap. I tried to tell you guys that that's one of the best teams in the country. I had them as a top 3 team in the country. I still think they are that. I know they may not look it. It's not as pretty compared to other teams like Miami, who just beat up on Florida. LSU forced 5 interceptions and only won by 10. LSU has the pieces on offense, and that's what they've had every year. Garrett Nussmeier is still one of the best quarterbacks in the country. They've got playmakers, Aaron Anderson and Nick Anderson out wide. Barryon Brown, the speedster. Caden Durham's a very good running back. They're going to be just fine. Trey'Dez Green is a huge red zone threat. That offense is going to get figured out, but they have arguably the best defense in college football this year. They look incredible on defense. That's why I have them. I think LSU is the best team in the SEC right now. Again, it may not look pretty this second, but they're going to get that offense figured out, and I do think that LSU still, I stand on what I said earlier in the year, or before the year even started, that LSU is a top 3 team in college football. Again, so those are 2 victory laps. I can tell you right now, this good teams that have either over or underperformed. South Carolina, if you guys remember what I said about South Carolina earlier in the year, or before the year started, I said that they were a lock for the college football playoffs. They weren't, obviously. Their season's kind of over now unless they win out, which I don't think they are going to do. So we'll get to them. I'm just making that point to show you guys, yes, I'm going to boast about my correct picks, but I'm not going to shy away. I'm a man of my word. I said it. It's on the record. You got to live with that sometimes. Right here in this playoff hopefuls, man. I think that there's a lot. This is going to get slimmed down here in the next few weeks. I've got Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, Texas A&M, and Missouri. Again, I think that can get slimmed down in the next few weeks. Tennessee, the only team in the SEC to average over 50 points a game right now is the Tennessee Volunteers. Joey Aguilar has looked incredible. I think that you can make a case that Tennessee's a top 3 team in the SEC. I can tell you right now that's going to be the title of this video. Is Tennessee a top 3 team in the Southeastern Conference? I would not look at you cross-eyed if you said that. Part of me wants to do that as a Tennessee homer, of course. I've got them right outside. I think they are the 4th best team in the SEC. Again, this is not all ranked, but there are some teams where I have. If I were to rank my top 5 of the SEC, I think I'd go LSU, Georgia, Oklahoma, Tennessee. And then that 5th spot, it's either Alabama or Texas A&M. I know some people don't like to buy into the A&M hype. I'm bought in to Aggieland over there in College Station. I think that Texas A&M could very likely be a college football team. There's a lot of teams in the SEC who I think are better than the Texas Techs of the world, and not anybody in the ACC, anybody besides Miami. But, they're going to put other teams from other conferences. I think that outside of Oregon and Ohio State, everybody from this playoff hopeful and playoff football teams through 4 weeks would be the third best team in the Big Ten. I don't care what Indiana did to Illinois. I don't care about Penn State. I really don't. Drew Aller has looked so not good. Excuse me, I got some allergies. I was going to try and find a way to beat around that bush, but he just has not looked good. So, we've got Tennessee here first. Again, I would love to see this defense start to pick up. I still have a lot of confidence in this defense, especially when Jermod McCoy gets back. We know that he is the best defensive back in college football. I got him at 4. I've got him in to lead off in this playoff hopeful tier. I've got Alabama. Again, I know a lot of Tennessee fans want to just hate on Alabama, and I don't blame you. I think that's our biggest rival. But I do think that Ty Simpson is a very good quarterback. I think that they have arguably the best wide receiver duo in the country. I don't think it is the best, so I guess it's not arguably. I think the best duo in college football at the receiver position is Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, and I don't think that that's very close over there at Ohio State. But 2A and 2B, I'll tell you right now, it's Texas A&M and it's Alabama with Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams and Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion. And those are two guys that are very slept on. People are starting to figure out more and more about Mario Craver each week, but Jeremy Bernard is better than Ryan Williams. Alabama is a very good football team. They are star-studded. Breaking news, Alabama has NFL talent on the defensive side of the football, and again, they have playmakers on that offensive side of the football, and I like Ty Simpson as a quarterback. I think Alabama, I might pick Alabama to beat Georgia this week. No lie to you. I think that with how our receiver group, not saying anything negative about our receivers, but that receiver room over in Tuscaloosa is better than what we have here. I'm just being completely honest. And the way our receivers did them, I think that Auburn can do the same, and I would not be surprised. I think that Alabama can do the same, and I would not be surprised whatsoever if Alabama beats Georgia this week. I've got Ole Miss. You know, you play your backup quarterback the last 2 weeks, and he has looked incredible. It's almost like they've got a quarterback controversy over there with Austin Simmons and El Trinidad, the backup transfer, because he has looked incredible. Ole Miss is a good football team. Harrison Wallace, the transfer from Penn State, has looked so good over there at Ole Miss. I'm ready to see them get tested. I'm ready to see them play a real team, whether that's at home or on the road. Arkansas is a real team. I'm not going to say that they aren't, but a top 20 football team. I'm excited for Ole Miss to play one of those. I think Ole Miss is a top 20 team in college football. I'm just excited to see them to get a real test, especially in the SEC. I've got Texas, man. I know that they're undefeated. Oh, they're not undefeated. Never mind. This makes my job a lot easier. I've got Texas. Arch Manning doesn't look impressive. I don't care what he did against Sam Houston State. I don't have much to say about Texas. That's one where I will take it on the chin right there. I thought Texas was the best team in college football. Coming into the year, I thought Arch Manning was going to be very, very good. I missed on that one. I'll take that one on the chin right there. Texas just does not impress me one bit. They're a team, though, that if they get the Arch Manning thing figured out, they have all of the tools in the world to be, again, one of the best teams in college football, if not the best. So, not counting out Texas, again, they are in the playoff hopeful. They are on track to make the playoffs. That Red River Showdown between Texas and Oklahoma will be a game this year. I'm going to pick Oklahoma, and you guys know why. John Mateer's that guy. But Texas just has not impressed me much at all this year. Texas A&M has really impressed me. Marcel Reed, the Tennessee native, Casey Concepcion, and Mario Craver. That is a three-headed monster right there. Marcel Reed has connected on a lot of deep balls this year. He has looked very solid. Mario Craver seems like he's open every time he leaves the line of scrimmage. It's kind of ridiculous, all 5'9" of them. Casey Concepcion was one of the top receivers in the transfer portal this year, a big get for the Aggies. I like their defense. I like everything about it. Mike Elko is building something over there in College Station. I am in on Texas A&M. I could be eating those words in 3 weeks. I don't know. But right now, as of today, I am in on Texas A&M. Another team that I am in on, and it's a lot because of that backfield, is Missouri. Bo Pribula has looked good. Didn't wow anybody against South Carolina this weekend. Missouri got a big win against South Carolina. But Ahmad Hardy, there's a lot of I'm going to say it right now. I think Ahmad Hardy is the best running back in college football right now. Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame has looked a little underwhelming. Nick Singleton and Katron Allen, both very good running backs at Penn State, but Ahmad Hardy has just played incredible. Missouri has a lot to be happy about right now. I will say they are the last team in this playoff hopeful. I don't think that Missouri is going to be a playoff team, but I definitely think they're better than they were last year with Brady Cook and Luther Burden. Missouri's a good football team, a huge win against South Carolina this past weekend. So now we're going to head, there's probably one team that you guys didn't hear there. They are leading off this good teams that have either over or underperformed to this point. That's Vanderbilt. They were, I almost put them in the playoff hopeful. I just could not have playoff hopeful and Vanderbilt in the same sentence. I feel like that would automatically invalidate this channel. I don't care how good they've looked. You guys know I am not very high on Diego Pavia. He just doesn't impress me. Do I think he's good for the sport of college football? Yes. Does he have a cool story no matter how old he is? Yes. I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback. Again, oh well. I know he has some memorable wins, especially against Alabama last year. Has had some very good games, but he's a gamer. But I feel like that's kind of loosely used. Just doesn't wow me at all. But again, nonetheless, a good story. Vanderbilt, undefeated still, put the whooping on Georgia State this past week. Vanderbilt's a good football team, I will say that. Eli Stowers is the best tight end in the country. They're well coached. A lot of good to say about Vanderbilt. I just could not even fathom putting them in the same sentence as playoff hopefuls and on the same tier as Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. I could not do it. I don't care if they're 8-0. Well, I might have to have some conversations if they're 8-0. But they lead off the good teams that have either over or underperformed. I think a lot of Vanderbilt fans expected them to be 4-0 right now. But in the fashion that they've done it, that's why I have them just absolutely killed South Carolina last weekend. So that is why I have them. They are the best team in that tier, in my opinion. I've got Auburn in this one right here. Jackson Arnold just does not wow me, but I'll tell you one thing that is incredible about Auburn. Cam Coleman is a dog. Breaking news, I know. And nothing surprising here. We've known that he's really good, but he put on a show against Oklahoma. Cam Coleman with a quarterback, I think would probably be not in contention because I think Jeremiah Smith is probably the best prospect at the receiver position that we're going to see enter the NFL draft ever. I've talked about that before. But Cam Coleman it's not 1A, 1B, but he's really close as number 2. Cam Coleman is a dog. And they're another one. Him and Eric Singleton, the wide receiver position in the Southeastern Conference, is loaded this year. Auburn, still a good football team, just a tough loss to Oklahoma. I know that there's a lot of controversy about that kind of trick play that Oklahoma pulled. I think it's Bush League. If you guys didn't see it, they pulled the Johnny Manziel thing but with the receiver, where a receiver looks like he's getting subbed out of the game and he just paused at the sideline, looked like he was talking to coach, and John Mateer snapped the ball and no one accounted for him and he just ran a go ball and walked into the end zone. I think it's Bush League. I don't really like it, but what are you going to do? Oklahoma's still a better team than Auburn. Auburn, still a very good football team, though. South Carolina, it pains me to say it, man. I'm not a South Carolina fan. I don't like them at all. I was just so high on them coming in to this year. Just athletes all over the field, but they have not been able to put it together. Shane Beamer starting off the year 2-2. They're making me eat my words, man. The one time I want to say some good things about South Carolina, they proved me why I should not do that. So I'm not going to do that in the future. I still think Lenore Sellers is a very good quarterback. Just could not get it done in the clutch against Missouri this past weekend. Had some very impressive plays, and as Lenore Sellers always does, just you watch it and your eyes just pop and you're like, good night, Irene. They're making me eat my words, man. The season is over, kind of in my opinion. They could win out, I guess, and still get in, but unfortunate for South Carolina fans. I thought that this was the year that you were going to break through in the Shane Beamer era. I guess not. I've got Mississippi State, who Tennessee faces this weekend, still undefeated. Blake Shapen has looked solid. They started off slow this past weekend against Northern Illinois, still ended up winning pretty big, pretty handily. I think they're a solid football team. They're another one that I need to see them get really tested. I know that they beat a solid Arizona State team that was highly ranked early in the year. I thought that high ranking was not correct, so I don't know how much of a test it truly was. I thought that they got overranked. A lot of their offense came from Cam Scatterbo last year. I still think Sam Levitt is a good quarterback. I think Jordan Tyson is one of the best receivers in the country for Arizona State. It's hard for me to think that Mississippi State is on the level of a playoff hopeful, or even a Vanderbilt or an Auburn or South Carolina. Look at me, they're undefeated, and South Carolina's sitting at 500, and I'm still trying to say good things about them, man. It's frustrating. I don't know why. I hate South Carolina. Mississippi State right there at the over/underperformed tier, and then we've got Arkansas. I think they've underperformed. I think that Taylor Green is still a top 5 quarterback in the country. Just a horrible loss to this Memphis team this past weekend, up 18, and you still find a way to lose it. Taylor Green did not play good football. Gosh, man, it's a tough one for Razorbacks fans, and I don't like it because I still think it's a trap game and a game that Tennessee's going to be challenged when Arkansas comes in to Neyland Stadium in a few weeks. But I will say this right now, that revenge factor, all of those things, it kind of reminds me of when South Carolina came back to Neyland Stadium the year after Hendon Hooker and all that craziness went down when we got killed by South Carolina. Spencer Rattler and them came back to Neyland Stadium the next year, and we just absolutely demolished them. I could see that happening, but I also think that Arkansas has an electric offense. I think Taylor Green, what looks like 6'7" of them, 6'6", like he's a machine. I still think Taylor Green's a very good quarterback. Arkansas just with a rough loss this past weekend. Not what you want to see if you are Sam Pittman and company. And then the trash one, the trash tier. We've got 2 teams. I'm sure they are both, the 2 teams. It's Florida and Kentucky, man. And I'll say this, and I'll say how bad Florida looks, and I'm going to eat my words because I'll never pick the Vols to go win in the swamp, because they haven't done it since I've been alive. Your boy's 18, almost 19 years old, and they've never done it since I've been alive. But gosh, Florida just looks so bad. And I think a lot of that has to do with Billy Napier. I think I'm the biggest Billy Napier fan in the world. Florida fans, I think you should give Billy Napier a shot. This being a Tennessee podcast, hold on to Billy Napier. But he's so bad. On a real note here, he is so bad. DJ Lagway, I know that there's a lot of people still wanting to hold out hope for him, and I kind of understand it. And once Billy Napier's gone, he's going to evolve, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. He looks so bad. He threw for 60 yards against Miami. He looks so bad. I don't know what a coach has to do with you. Is the play calling perfect? No. Is he in the best situation? No. But he overthrows and is not on target with flat routes. He does not look good at all. I think he's still a little banged up from the fall. He looks not too aggressive, but he kind of looks like Joe Milton and Nico as a runner. I don't know if it's necessarily that he's hurt. He just looks really odd to me, man. It baffles me. I think that the receiver core is solid. I think Jaden Ball is a very good running back. They have all of what it takes on offense to be good. Their defense is good. But, man, they just don't look – they're so bad. They are so bad. It baffles me, man. And again, the defense is good. They made Miami struggle. They made LSU struggle. That's 2 of the top 3 to 4 or 5 teams in the country. And gosh, the schedule does not help them out either. They've got Texas this weekend. Who knows, man? It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy sledding for Florida for the rest of the year. I'll say this: they'll lose every game, and DJ Lagway will look horrible. They'll hold on to Billy Napier for the rest of the year. And then the Vols will come into the swamp, and Tennessee will be a 1-loss team, and Florida will be a 1-win team, and DJ Lagway will look like a Heisman against us, and we'll lose. Because for my lifetime, at least, that's what it looks like every year. It doesn't matter if Florida trots out the number 1 player in the country like DJ Lagway or a backup like Felipe Franks. We just can't beat him. And then the trash, man, Kentucky's just not good at football. I'm not even going to say too much, man. It's not even a waste of breath. Kentucky's not good. And so with that being said, I think that's all but going to wrap it up for today's episode. We're going to end it on that note, just how bad Kentucky is. I'm not even going to waste a breath on it. Is Tennessee a top 3 team in the SEC? I wouldn't look at you crazy if you said it. they have a case to be made for it. That offense looks incredible. Joey Aguilar looks good, averaging over 50 points a game when you've played Georgia already this year. A very good stat. It is the run game looks good, passing game looks good. I wouldn't call you crazy if you think that Tennessee is a top 3 team in the SEC. So let me know down in the comments if that's what you think. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like. Let me know if you think Tennessee is a top 3 team in the country. Make sure you share all of that stuff. It's greatly appreciated. I more than appreciate you guys for joining me on this Monday morning, giving From the Bench Vols a listen to. I will see you guys on Thursday, and go Vols.